What is happening, everybody? I'm Larry Roberts.
And I'm Sara, and this is Branded, your comprehensive guide to creative branding.
And on this episode of the podcast, we're going to prop our legs up and lay back on the couch as we try to understand the shrinkology or the psychology behind brands.
I learned this stuff back in college when I was taking design classes, and it to this day is so fascinating to me. Just how the different subtle choices that we make in creating the visuals of our brand impact people like subconsciously.
Yeah,
I'm gonna nerd out so hard in this.
It's awesome because I started figuring this stuff out like, I don't know, preschool. When I was trying to decide which crayons to eat, there were certain crayons that I preferred over other colors, and I didn't necessarily understand why. But as we dig into this a little bit deeper, maybe I'll finally be able to tap into that little preschool Larry that kept eating the magenta crayon for whatever reason.
See, that one doesn't make sense because magenta is purple, and purple is one of the colors that makes you lose your appetite.
Well,
you were broken.
Well, that's not a newsflash either. So,
but the psychology of color is the first thing with it, and different colors just subconsciously elicit different feelings and emotions.
Yeah,
and this is done really, really well, especially by like fast food restaurants. They are so good at this color psychology, because there are actually colors that make you feel hungry.
And that's kind of interesting. I mean, if you do think about it, and I was sitting here as you were talking, I was trying to think of a fast food place. And now that I am talking, I thought of one, but most of them have that yellow reddish color scheme.
Yes. Yellow and red together, they elicit hunger, but they also give you this feeling like red is very abrupt and it's like speed, and yellow is happy. So it's like McDonald's is red and yellow because they want you to get in, get out, but be happy about it. Because they have that nostalgia feeling.
Wow, at the same time. So
yes. No, there really is. Every color has basically an assigned emotion. And when I was going through these, it was interesting because it was so accurate when it came to our colors.
Well, with the pink and the blues and the greens.
No, separately.
I'm looking around our logo right now.
You look like the Brady Bunch.
What are our colors again? I don't even know.
Well, ours are pink, blue, green, and yellow, but mine is pink and yours are black and red.
Yeah.
So pink is fun and youthful. And when I launched my brand, it was me. Shut up.
And red is old. Terrible.
But I built my brand coming out of finance, where I felt like I was expected to be older than I was and more rigid and boring, basically. So when I came out of it, I made everything pink, and I did it because it was just my favorite color, and it was a stark contrast to more of the boring finance. But looking at it through the psychological lens, I wanted it to be fun, and I wanted to be able to, I say act my age, but it's probably a little younger than my actual age because I'm in my Barbie era right now. But it's so interesting. And then black, because you're the red hat guy, but everything is actually black. You just have red accents.
Yeah.
And black.
Maybe that what is it? That charcoal gray, or that not even charcoal. It's darker than charcoal. It's almost black, but not white. Yeah.
Well, everything you do is black. Your website is like charcoal, but like in your logo and stuff, it's black.
Yeah.
And black is like luxury. And you talk about your brand wanting it to be very high end, very corporate, very like the highest quality. So that makes sense that you aligned with black.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. It really is. And, I was thinking back to the fast foods, and I was trying to really think of one that wasn't yellow and red.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had that eureka moment a second ago, I thought of Chick-fil-A. But
Chick-fil-A is red.
It's red. I know, but but it's not red and yellow. And I thought, that's one that's not red and yellow, but there's still red there.
So
I started going down the list of fast food gigs, and I'm like, who doesn't have?
Taco Bell.
Okay, Taco Bell. But I think maybe Taco Bell might not share that color scheme because there's also an inferred cultural reference there.
There's that, but also purple is innovation. And Taco Bell, and it's like innovation and creativity. Taco Bell is known for having these out of the box ideas. They
Yeah,
have the fourth meal, which is not a thing. They come out with like the Mexican pizza.
it's a thing.
But all of these, they want to be innovative. They even have test kitchens where they come out with like different weird things to test. They have the Taco Bell Cantina because they're trying to turn fast food into a bar. All of these different ideas.
Yeah,
So they want to be innovative. They want to be creative. So they are purple.
yeah. Yeah, man, and I'm trying to think. Well, we have Chicken Express. I think they're red and yellow. They definitely have yellow in there. I'm trying to go down and think of some of the more obscure fast food restaurants. And even if I try to go obscure, I'm coming up short.
I think
So
Panda Express is red.
okay, yeah, black and white because of the panda, obviously.
Yeah.
Man, I think it'd be fun if you're listening to this episode right now and you can think of some fast food restaurants out there where their color schemes aren't red and yellow or even just red or yellow. Drop us a comment, shoot us a note.
Subway's yellow. Oh, so Subway, it's yellow and green.
Yellow and green.
Because yellow is still part of the yellow psychology is that it's also the brightest color and it's the most, it stands out the most when you're like driving down the street. That's why we can see the golden arches from 3 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So they have the yellow, but green, it elicits a feeling of this is very fresh and natural, and they are Subway Eat Fresh, which is total BS, but that's their thing.
That's fresh enough.
Oh, but so they are yellow and green, and that green has that psychological factor of it makes it seem like it's fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man, to sit back and think about it. And I think you broke it down best when you were talking about red, yellow, green, and pink. They're designed to make you hungry.
Yes.
And then blue, brown, purple, magenta even is designed to have you lose your appetite. And
yes,
where some of those come into play with the brown, obviously brown's not really looked at as a clean color. It has some negative connotations, especially on the food scale.
With food, it's considered like it's like burnt or overcooked.
Yeah, or poop,
or that.
Yeah. So, but but I don't see where blue would make you lose.
So
that one gets me.
Blue, there are very, very few. I think there's only one natural food that is blue, and it's blueberries.
Okay.
That's the only food that is actually blue. So it doesn't.
To add on to that real quick, last night I sat down for my bedtime snack, and that's why I'm fat. But I sat down for my bedtime snack, and there was a pint of this. What is it? I think it's called Snow Bunny or something. Blue Bunny, maybe it's called Blue Bunny.
Blue Bunny.
Where they have soft serve ice cream. Okay,
yes.
Buy in the store, and it's amazing. It's
yes.
You love soft serve ice cream. This stuff is not good for you.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, but I sat down last night with this very creative pint of what was it? Blue Bunny soft serve ice cream, and it was birthday cake.
Oh yeah.
And I don't recommend it. It's really not that great.
It's oversweet.
But it's so sweet. And once I psychology, right? Once I associated the flavor directly to that cheap, gritty birthday cake icing, that's really all I could taste. But I'm telling you this because at the same time, it's a blue and white swirled ice cream. So, and it's not just blue. I mean, it is it's almost like our blue. If you look at the blue in our colors, it's about that same color blue.
It's just bright, like almost neon blue.
Yeah. And when you look at it, you're like, yeah, it's a little off-putting,
Exactly. Blue doesn't show up in food. It shows up in poisons and mold.
Okay. Didn't realize it was in mold. I thought mold was green and black, but
a lot of times it's like moldy cheese is blue. That's blue cheese.
Oh, that's blue cheese. That makes sense. Okay.
Because it's mostly mold.
Bruh.
And then antifreeze.
Antifreeze is green. What are you talking about?
There's blue. And then like when you look at the warnings, like the little warning videos of don't let your kids drink the stuff under the sink, a lot of times it's bright blue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
antifreeze comes in every color. There's pink antifreeze. It depends on what you're trying to do.
What?
I know things.
You're just
I
trying
went
to
ar-
stop stuff from freezing.
Yeah, but there's different
Thank
like temperatures and different for different things. I was a boater. We winterize the boat every year. I know things.
you. It was a what?
Boater?
Oh, a boater. Okay.
Yeah, we would winterize the boat. There's different colors of antifreeze. One of them is blue. So is meth.
Oh,
Anyway.
so it's
Isn't that why meth is blue? Because they use antifreeze?
man. I've made a lot of bad.
I know they don't use Windex.
But meth has not been one of the bad choices that I've made, so I cannot speak intelligently to the color of meth. Everything I know about meth, I got off Breaking Bad. So
yeah, I've never actually seen Breaking Bad, but I know their meth is blue.
Okay.
So yeah, blue makes you lose your appetite because it is not something that is commonly seen in food. And the same with purple.
Grapes, duh.
That's like the one thing.
Grape ape, duh. Grape Kool-Aid, duh.
But even grapes aren't actually purple. Like the purple grapes are called red grapes.
Yeah. Yeah, I never got that either. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, and grape flavoring doesn't really
does not taste like grape.
Like I've never
it tastes like purple.
If grapes tasted like that, I would eat grapes all the time.
Oh no, I would not eat grapes if they tasted like that. Grape stuff tastes like purple.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, I can understand that. So we went off on a food tangent there. Sorry, folks. But I mean, it really does. It goes right back to what we were talking about with the psychology of the colors.
Yeah.
And it's not just in food, but it's in everything. And
yes,
the reason we're talking about it is because of how color plays into our branding.
Yeah, and the way that our brand is perceived, like the perception of it. So a couple other colors that this works with is blue is seen as trustworthy and dependable, which is probably why Facebook is blue.
Oh, I can see that, sure. But that's they've kind of went counterintuitive to their branding colors, haven't they?
But they can still kind of bring that in as to counteract some of the untrustworthiness. Like they're still blue. It still gives that feeling. The same with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is blue and they want to be dependable.
Trust us. I promise.
Yeah.
We only sell it to the most reputable companies out there.
Yellow is optimistic, which is helpful with the fast food. It's supposed to make you feel happy.
Yeah.
But then it's also attention grabbing.
Yeah.
It's because it's the brightest color you can find. Orange is friendly.
Okay.
Which like Nickelodeon and Nike. Nickelodeon was a little too friendly if you've seen the documentary.
A little too friendly.
A little too, yeah. They should tone down the color.
And I know you're going to get me for this because no politics. But ironically, Orange Man is perceived as bad. And if he's orange, he should be perceived as friendly.
Who's Orange Man? Oh, gross. So red, I was thinking like an actual, oh no, well, he is an actual villain. Anyway, red is tricky because it can go two ways. It's excitement and passion, but it's also danger and intimidation and bad business. Like anytime there's a sale or going out of business sign, all of that, it's red.
Yeah.
And then red is stop. Red is don't. It's very abrupt.
I'm feeling personally attacked at the moment.
You know what? I didn't pick the color. Blame Alex. But a lot of brands still use it, but they have to use it with other colors. So like Netflix is black, red, and white. You're black and red. YouTube they used to have other colors. I think they've now basically just red.
Yeah.
But there used to be other colors in their logo.
I mean, if you look at mine too, it's white. It's black, red, and white.
Yeah, I said that.
Well, you just said black and red.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So let's not forget the white.
It's knocking off Netflix.
I'm trying to balance it. Well, Netflix is knocking off me. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. But before they were Netflix, it was Blockbuster, which was blue.
And yellow.
Because you could depend on getting hit with late fees. Ridiculously. It's very dependable.
I got a few in my time.
Yes.
For sure.
Green is health and freshness, like Subway or Whole Foods or like HelloFresh, but it's also money. So that's why it's very blue and green are some of the most common finance colors because blue is trustworthy and dependable, and green is money.
But we have a client right now where their colors are what? Blue and green. And it's you're like, we really do we really?
I think finance, I automatically think women's share, and I'm like, that is pink. But yes, no, we're working with a mortgage company. So they are blue and green.
Yep.
It's so common. It's even a joke that I make all the time when I talk about getting out of finance is I had to get away from the blues and greens. And that's why I went full pink.
Yeah.
Like it's so common, but it makes sense because it makes you think of finance and it makes you think of trustworthiness and dependable.
Yeah.
Purple, creative and innovative, like Taco Bell. What other brands are purple?
Yeah. What other brands are purple?
One of the phone companies.
Purple mattress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Purple.
And they were super innovative. They're like a grid system in their mattress.
Yeah. I never bought a mattress, but I did buy a purple, like it's a seat cushion for my office chair. And that was interesting to say the least.
I didn't like it.
That's why I said interesting. I was trying to be. I didn't like it at all, and it reeked of chemicals. It was very chemically smelling as well, and it's just like how would this be a mattress, bro? That's
a very common thing with all of the like memory foam mattresses that come in a box.
Yeah,
you have to let them air out because they all smell like that. But I laid on a purple mattress at one of the stores when I was mattress shopping, and I could feel the squares.
Okay. Interesting. I could feel the squares when I was sitting on the cushion as well. You know, it was definitely made for a unique sitting experience.
SpongeBob?
Never sat on SpongeBob. I mean, I probably wouldn't. It's just there's so much I can say there that I'm just not going to because.
Anywho.
Yeah, you were leading us down that path. Speaking of leading us down the path, in addition to colors, we also tend to look at the shapes and the symbols that are associated with our brands. And that can have an impact on the perception of our brand, not just the color, but how that color is shaped as well.
And the shape part is really interesting because then I go full psych nerd and the psychology of perception and Gestalt's principles.
Who?
Gestalt? I don't think it's not a who because it was developed by like 3 guys.
Wasn't that the bad guy in Beauty and the Beast? Wasn't that like he was the big, strong, muscular dude? That wanted to date Belle, and Belle's like, "No, get away from me!" And then he decided to go kill the beast.
That would be Gaston.
It's close enough. Okay.
Very close. Very close.
Gaston. Yeah.
So anyway, it is a great movie. So the different shapes can show different things, and then the Gestalt principles are how we perceive shapes and patterns and stuff.
And stuff. Is that the technical aspect to it? Is that the
yes?
Is that the
scientifically speaking, mathematically, medically speaking, it is stuff. But so circles are unity and wholeness, which is like the Olympic symbol, is the 5 circles.
But colors.
Yes.
Representing different countries.
Yes, because did you know that the 5 colors are the 5 colors that are found in every single flag that it competes in the Olympics?
I did not know that.
Yeah, no. At least one of the colors will appear on every single flag of every country that competes in the Olympics.
Bruh, how is that possibly true? Because there's yellow. One of the rings is yellow, and I can tell you right now that the United States doesn't have yellow on their flag.
No, there has to be at least one color that is in each one. So like red and white and blue, I think are all in there. So then US is good. China is red and white. So as long as red or white,
have all 5, but they represent
at least one. At least one.
All right.
Yes,
all right. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
But there's like Gestalt's principles of like simplicity and symmetry and proximity and all of this stuff. So when we look at that logo, we don't actually see 5 separate circles. We just see one logo.
Yeah, one unified logo.
Exactly.
And whatnot. Yeah.
Because it's like they're similar, they're close together. We want to close it. We want to see the patterns and all of that. It also, like these principles are also why we can see when logos are like using negative space We can still see it when they have, I think, like the IBM logo.
Yeah.
It says IBM, but it doesn't actually. It's just a bunch of lines.
Right.
But
Right.
we see it as IBM. That is continuation or no, closure. It's the Gestalt principle that if we see something and we don't see all of it, our brain will automatically close it so we could see the whole thing.
Oh, okay. All right. I dig it.
Like if you see it like a dog that's like halfway behind a wall, you don't think there's half a dog. Your brain knows the other half is there.
You just make that assumption that the dog is behind the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are like the principles of perception. I'm such a nerd. This stuff is so fun for me.
We're getting deep here, folks. We talk about circles, there's squares, triangles, lines, curved lines. There's all sorts of different shapes, and each one, very similarly to the colors, they all bring with them their
certain feelings,
perceived emotional, the emotions that they're designed to elicit. How's that?
Yeah. So like squares and rectangles are stability and dependability. So if you look at LinkedIn, it's a square. If you look at American Express, it's a square. Also, both of them are blue. Triangles are power, energy, and trust. Adidas is triangle, which is probably like the power and energy. Delta, they want to be the trustworthy one. But even Google Drive, it's like that triangle of like the Google colors.
Yeah, the trifecta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want, because they want to be like dependable. Oh, no, wait, no, that's squares. They want to be trustworthy. That's the one. And powerful, because it's power to have everything in one place.
I dig that. I love Google Drive.
Yeah.
I probably only like it for the logo.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then there's like the difference between straight lines and curved lines. So like lines in general are like innovation and movement. Like IBM is like all lines.
Right.
Sprint is the raising the bars. So lines. But then curved lines are more fluid and creative, like the Adobe logo.
Yes.
But going back to triangles though, because energy, that's a little like recycle sign too. That's
It
cool.
is, yes.
So
and
that's kind of like the sign for green energy.
You being the latest BJJ practitioner out there, you'll notice that the logo to Gracie Baja is also a triangle. And
It is, but it's a triangle that's a G.
Yeah, exactly.
For Gracie.
Yeah.
And it's inside of a circle because it's united. We are a team.
Yeah. And if you continue down your martial arts path, you'll see that triangles and circles are dominant in martial arts.
Yeah, because when you triangle is how you choke someone out with your legs.
Well, that's one way, yeah, that I'm way too familiar with. But
I haven't done it right yet.
My very first fight, I lost a triangle choke, so that was fun.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, when in doubt, cross collar choke.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. We're really getting off tangent here onto the
we are.
Yeah.
But I also think it's really interesting when we look at like geometric shapes versus natural shapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like things like flowers and stuff like that, like they feel more natural, but we also will have a symbolic meaning behind them. Like there's no real symbol behind circles. There's no real symbol behind squares. There's just those feelings that they elicit, like wholeness and all of that. But with natural symbols, they do have a meaning behind them a lot of times. Like Evernote, I don't know if they're still around, but they were this like note-taking platform.
Yeah, they were an elephant, weren't they?
Yes, they were an elephant.
Yeah.
And elephants have the best memory. They never forget.
Makes sense.
But like everyone knows that.
Yeah.
So it's instead of like everyone knows a circle means united. No, it's like everyone knows like elephants never forget. It's like, it's so interesting. And like when I made my logo, I wanted it to be very curved and flowy and everything because I want like it's creativity.
Yeah.
And I wanted like I have it as a microphone, but I wanted it to look even a little bit more like a flower than a microphone. Like you have to double take. You can't tell which one it is because it's floral, it's feminine, it's like I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking about your favorite daughter logo.
Yes, favorite daughter.
Yeah, which is really cool because I'm typically not a fan of
Microphones.
microphones on anything podcast related.
Yeah.
But your logo, because of the way that microphone is, it's not just a microphone slapped on a logo. It's creatively drawn, and
Mm-hmm.
it does have a flow to it, and it is it's not necessarily, it's not overly implied because it's pretty obvious what it is, but there is sort of an implied relevance to the way the logo is drawn. So in that regard, I dig it on your particular logo, and I think if more people were creative in that way, then we could see more and more headphones and microphones and content related items on content related brands. But I thought you did a really good job there.
Well, thank you. You know what I actually just realized too is in my logo, because I did not design my logo. I bought it off, like I had a girl on like Etsy design it for me for like $12. But in like the stand is kind of like the wire, but it has a little loop, which could almost be like a leaf off the stem.
Okay, I'll have to look at it closer. Might want to include that in the show notes so people can take a deep dive into your logo.
Everyone go look. Everybody.
Everybody, right now, go to favoritedaughtermedia.com and take a look at Sara's logo.
And while you're at it, buy my book. But it really is the way that...
Brought to you by Open This Book.
Yes. The art of storytelling for aspiring thought leaders. So when you're creating your logo, these are things you really want to think about, is the shapes that you're using and the colors that you're using for your brand. But also you want to think about the typeface, like the fonts that you use.
Yeah, I thought that was a great transition to go from lines and colors and then plug your book and then go into so I thought that worked out really well.
Openthisbook.com.
Yep. But no, I mean, there's a variety of fonts that are out there, and me personally, I've got the fonts that I like. And if you look at my shirt and you saw my logo, you could see that it's a sans serif font.
Don't start this.
That is there, and you have sans serif. You have
don't start this.
You have scripts. Don't start what?
It is serif.
It's not Sara if it's serif.
Sarah also right if it is serif.
Your clapbacks are usually better than that.
I know. I'm tired. I have not had coffee. But when we look at fonts, it's the same thing as the colors and the shapes. They all have their like implicit value, like meaning. Serif fonts, the ones that have the little like lines and the little chickas and the those are the traditional ones. Those are the ones that are very kind of old school.
Yeah, like a Times New Roman.
Yeah. Those are very commonly in book print. Almost every book is going to be in some kind of serif font. And there's different brands that use serif fonts. I don't know why I can't think of a single one right now.
Because it's serif. If you were thinking of serif fonts, you'd be like, oh, this company uses that, and that company uses that. New York Times uses a serif font.
AFCP. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. The AFCPE does, because I just looked up trying to find an example, and they sent me a card. So that's the Association for Financial Counseling and Planning Education.
Look, it's interesting too, because I named New York Times, you named the AFCPE, ABC, and if we think of both of those companies, they're very, very corporate, very professional organizations.
Yes,
and that could be, I don't know why they're using the serif type fonts.
Yeah, they want to be seen as traditional and trustworthy. But then sans serif is the modern and simple. Like they're very clean.
Yeah. Like I think font or Montserrat is a very popular one. Or
Poppins is my favorite.
Love Poppins. Poppins. I think
love me a Poppins.
All the ebooks that I've written, I think they're all in Poppins. It's just a very versatile, fun, but at the same time, professional looking font.
Yeah, and like Roboto is another popular one.
Roberto? No, Roboto.
It's Roboto.
Como arigato. I understand, Mr. Roboto. It is Roboto, but I said Roberto for some reason. I don't know.
Those ones are the modern and simple ones. Things like Google uses that because they are so modern.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you put Google, it's like they're clean colors. It's a clean font. It's very just clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they want to be seen as that. So it works. Like yours is a very bold sans serif font.
I
And
think,
then,
is it Poppins? I think it's Poppins.
is yours Poppins?
It's either Poppins or, believe it or not, Red
Red
Hat.
Hat.
I think when we were designing the logo, we were going Poppins and then discovered Red Hat. We're like, I got to use the Red Hat font. I mean, it's just, you can't go another direction if that's the name of the brand. To have your own font, that's amazing.
No, I think your logo was in Poppins because we discovered that later. So your website is in Red Hat.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Your
Well,
website font.
And they're very similar.
Yes.
But the Red Hat has it's a little bit wider if you look at it. Compare Poppins. Poppins is more dimensionally balanced. The perspective is a little more balanced from vertical and horizontal views. But the Red Hat, I think it's just a little fatter on the horizontal scale, which is very appropriate.
And then there's the script fonts, which are the elegant and creative ones. So what brands use a script? Looking around again.
I know, it's like, let me find a book.
Like I'm seeing like my sister's card asked me to be her bridesmaid is in script.
Yeah, maybe we should have done a little research before we talked about scripts.
Right?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Huh. Mine was going to be my original logo. I love the Britney font.
Oh, like Spears?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's a font on like Canva and stuff. It's called Britney. And that was my brand font. I use it in a lot, like I was using it in like headlines and I use it in a lot of my graphics still. But I had that as my, like in my logo. But that was the first thing that I changed, I think, before I even published it. What is it?
Good Lord. I mean, only brands like Barbie, which we've already talked about, Disney, Coca-Cola, Instagram, Johnson & Johnson, Cadillac, Ford, Sharpie, Kleenex. It goes on and on and on. So there is a ton of them out there that use the script.
Yeah. A lot of those, like, I mean, Disney, Barbie, those are creative. They want to be very creative. And even like Barbie, even a little bit of elegance because it is very feminine.
Yeah, it's a very feminine font, a very feminine script. And that's the cool thing, too, about using scripts, because, I mean, they come in, there's so many. There's thousands out there. And, I mean, there's aggressive scripts. There's elegant scripts. There's fun scripts. There's the penmanship type script that we have at the bottom.
Like calligraphy.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, that's like a handwriting font.
Yeah.
But then there's calligraphy, which looks like it was very, like, handwritten cursive. Those ones are supposed to look very expensive.
Yeah.
Because you paid somebody to handwrite it.
Yeah. I would need to do that. My penmanship is not great.
Oh God, mine is so bad. I'd never write anymore. But when I first did my logo, it said Favorite Daughter Media across the bottom in Brittany, which is a very almost chaotic cursive. Like it's very like big.
Wow.
And loopy and stuff. And I purchased it that way.
Yeah.
And then I went in and changed it. I had her send me the editable file so I can change it. And I went with Poppins.
Did you eat it?
Editable.
You said edible.
It was delicious.
Edible. And you may have had an edible before this episode.
Okay, fine. So I'll eat my words. Was that better? That was better?
That was good. You were on point.
That was good.
That was good. Yeah.
So with my logo, like between the font being all kind of wild and scripty, and then the logo itself being very swoopy and almost organic, swirly, it was too much together. So I took off the name, put it back in Poppins, and then even like adjusted the kerning and the tracking and all of that fun stuff so that it was longer and more spaced out. So it looked even more modern.
Yeah.
And it was a very traditionally kind of look originally.
And that's really one of the cool things about doing your logos is you have so much flexibility, man. And I mean, you were using terms there like kerning, which I'm assuming is the space between the letters themselves. Is that right? Is that right?
So there's kerning and tracking. I think kerning is space between letters and tracking is space between words.
Okay. Oh, wow. Between words. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Okay. And what do we have for the space between the lines? If you've got like a carriage return in there, and they're probably just really
Line space.
just line space. Okay. Cool. All
Or
right.
like, yeah, it's like spacing, like double spaced.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Not talking about,
There might be a more technical term. I don't know it.
I don't either. I called it a freaking carriage return for Christ's sake. I'm still on my top rudder.
It's a line break, but close enough.
So, anyways, there's all these different aspects to your brand, and a lot of it starts with color. And then, you have the color, and then the shapes coming into play, and the fonts coming into play. And it's just absolutely critical that when you're developing your brand and you're developing your logo, that all of these different psychological aspects are taken into account.
Yeah. Put some thought into just how do you want people to feel when they look at your logo, when they think about your company? What are those feelings that you want to elicit? And just do a little research. What do those colors mean? How can you use color to get those feelings? How can you use shapes to get those feelings? And that can help you just develop your logo, develop your look, instead of sitting there staring at a blank page trying to figure out what could I possibly use. Start with figuring that out. Figure out the colors, the shapes, the fonts, and go from there. And while you're listening to this or after, look at your own logo and your own branding. See if you can pull out these different feelings, these different things that we've talked about. Send it to us. Let us know. Either send us your logo or send us kind of your summary of how things make you feel. And that'd be really interesting to see, because with ours, they lined up. I would love to see if other people's subconsciously lined up too.
That would be super, super cool. So, hey, with that, I'm Larry Roberts.
And I'm Sara Losi. We'll talk to you next week.